Hi, and welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. My name is Lisa Curcio. If you like birds, and maybe even if you don't like birds, I think I'm going to push you over the edge with today's card. It is using the Free as a Bird bundle. This would be the stamp set with the coordinating stitched nested label dies. Amazing products. I'm going to include some accessories like ribbon and twine and some trinkets, as well as some designer series paper. Here's the card we're going to be creating together today. I'm also going to give you some great tips about using the alcohol-based Stampin' Blends marker. If this is your first time visiting my YouTube channel, I would love to have you subscribe. Click the small bell icon that's next to the subscribe button, and that will send you notifications of when I'm live here on YouTube, as well as when I upload a new video. Let's head over to the stamp table and let's get started on today's project. Here's a close-up of the card we're going to be creating together today. These small elements really add a lot to this card, and you're going to love these dies. Make sure you stick with me to the end of the video. I've got 4 more cards to share with you using this bundle of products. I'm starting with a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. I'm doing just a square card today. Don't be afraid to change up the size of your cards. This square card fits perfectly into a regular medium size envelope or an A2 envelope. I'm using a piece of the beautiful Bird Ballad Designer Series paper, and like most of the Stampin' Up! Papers, they are double-sided, giving you lots of options. I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive to the back side. I love to use my silicone craft sheet when I'm using adhesive because it will keep the adhesive off my work surface. Adhesive, hot glue, and liquid glue will not stick to it, which makes it a wonderful product. Because there's no direction to this designer paper, I'm just going to go ahead and mount it in the center, leaving a small border. As I mentioned, the Free as a Bird stamp set does have coordinating stitched nested label dies. I absolutely love these. I have pulled out 2 of the sizes from there, and we're going to do a little bit of die cutting. I'm using my Sizzix Big Shot machine here, and I've got a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock. And I'm going to use the smaller of the 2 stitch dies here. And then I have a piece of black cardstock here, and I'm going to use a slightly larger die so I can layer these. We've got our white label here, and I'm going to bring in a piece of scratch paper underneath it. I absolutely love these 7 by 7 grid papers. They fit the Stamparatus stamp positioning tool perfectly. In addition to that, I also carry sizes 16 inches wide by 10 inches tall if you have a larger work surface. Since I'm going to be using alcohol-based markers to color in my image, I'm going to be using Memento ink. And I've got that large bird image from that stamp set here. I'm concentrating on the cluster of these 3 birds, more so on this side of the label, since we are going to cut off some of this so that it's flush with the edge of the card. Since the stamp is very, very large, I prefer to use my ink pad. I've got my label here, and I'm going to move my birds all the way over to the left-hand side, and then I'll stamp. Make sure you take your time and you trace out that image because it's quite detailed. Now we're going to do some coloring. I'm going to be using the Stampin' Blends, and for my birds, I chose to use the Daffodil Delight combo. There's a light and a dark shade. I love that you can purchase them individually or as a combination. Since this is a very detailed image, I'm going to use the thin end of the marker, and you're going to see that they're designated here by the lines, Daffodil Delight. Once that's finished, I'm going to come in now with the dark shade, still using the fine tip. And the lines that are here inside the stamped image are great cheat marks for you. This is where you're going to lay the darker color. Now I'm just going to brush on a little bit just for some shading, and then I'm going to end up blending those colors together. I've got my light shade once again, and now I'm just going to go over this with a small circular motion since that's a small area, and I'm going to blend those shades together. I'm moving over to the Old Olive, and again I'm going to use my lightest color first, and I'm going to color in the leaves. Moving over to the dark shade, I'm just going to add some detail inside the veins of a few of those leaves. Just like we've done before, I'm going to come back over to the lighter shade, and I'm going to blend those harsh lines together. Finally, I'm going to work with the Crumb Cake combo. I've got my light shade here, and I'm going to color in the branch. This time I'm also going to color in the beaks. On my original sample I shared with you, I had not colored the beaks in, but I'm going to try it this time. And then I'm going to come back in with the darker shade, and again using those lines inside the branch, I'm going to add a little bit of highlights. And then I'll blend with the light again. I'm going to leave the flowers white because I think the card base is dark enough on its own. That's all the coloring we need to do. I've got the basic black label here, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere these together. I'm going to add adhesive to the back side of my label, and then I'm going to layer this, leaving some of that stitch black underneath showing. I'm going to move over here to the card base. This is going to give me a good idea of where I'm going to want to cut off the excess. Now there's a couple things you can do. You can go ahead and use a ruler and create a line so that you know where to cut. Or what you can do is you can actually mount it and then use the back edge of the cardstock as a guide and cut away from here. I find this easier. I did decide to use dimensionals, so I'm going to go ahead and do mine that way. So I'm going to add my dimensionals first, concentrating on the end that I want mounted. I'm going to remove the paper backings and I'm going to mount my bird image here. I'm not at all concerned that I might lose some of the leaves. From the back side, I've opened up the card base and I've got a long tipped pair of scissors here that are going to make it really easy for me. Come up alongside the cardstock and just cut away. Let's add our accessories. I have a piece of this beautiful, very vanilla scallop trim ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and just make a knot in it. I actually call this an air knot because you're just going to make a knot right in the air. There's nothing we're going to attach it to. Don't be afraid to pull it tightly. We don't want that knot too big because we're going to add some linen thread and one of the beautiful bird ballad trinkets. I want to show these to you because there's different designs in here. There's a small bow, there's a flower, there's also a leaf, and there's a key, and that's the one we're going to use on this card today. I've got about 8 inches of linen thread here, and I'm going to wrap that around the center of this. I'm going to make a single loop knot. Before I go any further, I'm going to adhere this knot to my branch, and I'm using my glue dots. I'm going to reveal one of those here, and then I'm going to take the back end of my knot and press it on top of the ribbon, and that's going to lift it off. And then I'm going to tack that where I want it on my card. I'm going to put it here near the cluster of my flowers. Now these loose ends of the linen thread is going to hold our trinket. If you don't want to fuss with this, you certainly can use a glue dot and attach it to your card. I'm going to thread that through the linen thread, and then I'm going to make another tie. That's going to secure it to the center of my ribbon. And then I'm going to finish by making a bow. Pull the bow very tightly. I know the loops are going to be too big. Hold or pinch the center of your knot and then take your loose end and then just slightly pull, and that will adjust the size of the loops of your bow. That will also keep you from losing a lot of the tension. In addition to the card that I've shared with you today, I have 4 others I'd like to share with you. These cards are all part of my monthly card making kit. My card kit is going to include the pre-cut supplies to make a total of 8 cards. You're going to make 2 of everything that you see here, 4 different designs. I'll include the cardstock, the designer paper, and of course you're going to get a video so you can stamp right along with me from home. Step-by-step instructions that are going to give you lots of tips along the way about coloring and tying and adding your accessories. Now if you want your cards to look exactly like mine, you'll need to order the same supplies, or you can substitute with what you have at home. I provide a lot of flexibility for your ordering. In addition to that, I'm also going to include a PDF tutorial with step-by-step instructions. There's going to be cutting dimensions and supplies all listed, and there's multiple pictures of each card. So whether you'd like to watch a video or you prefer to read instructions, I have you covered both ways. Stamping with me from home with my card making kits is really simple. There's a specific ordering date of July 10th through the 15th, and you must use an exclusive card making kit host code. It's the only way that I know you're entitled to the free pre-cut supplies. I have a promised mail date of no later than July 20th, and it will be sent to the same address used for your order. In addition to that, all of my card making kit customers also receive an added bonus, and that's a private event called Live with Lisa. This event is held in a private Facebook group where I do numerous live demonstrations. I provide them with a bundle of 8 different tutorials, and I do product prize giveaways. But if you're not on Facebook, don't worry. Just let me know when you place your order, and I'll be happy to send you the video recording and the tutorials via email. And of course, your name is still included in the product prize drawings. I hope today's card has inspired you to enjoy the Free as a Bird bundle, the stamp set, and the coordinating dies. We would also love to include you in this month's card making kit. Head over to lisastampstudio.com, click on the online classes tab, and there you'll find additional information. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you're interested in receiving a copy of the current catalog, I would be more than happy to send you a complimentary copy. Just leave me a comment below or head over to my website and contact me there. If you have enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up here on YouTube and show us some love. Thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.